Look, Ma, no hands. Ah!
Start of tutorial.
All right, so what exactly happened just now? Without using any hotkeys, my hands were in the air. I was able to display and then hide again a punch-in version, a zoomed-in version of my face cam on the stream scene. This is similar to the method that Epos Vox, Stream Professor, definitely watch his channel if you want to learn more about OBS than you would probably ever need. It's something that he showcased a couple of weeks ago in his video Fast and Easy Zoom In and Punch In OBS Studio, where he used the plugin Stream Effects by Zaymar to mirror the Facecam plugin, or rather the Facecam source, and be able to resize the mirrored or the duplicated source without affecting the original, and use a hotkey to, to show and hide that duplicated source, that mirrored source. So we're building on what Epos already shared in his video by adding another plugin, Move Transition by Exceldro, and using the feature Audio Move Filter to actually use that as a trigger to be the thing that shows and hides the duplicated scene or the mirror scene from Stream FX. So let's refer to the simple scene collection that I have here. You've got the game capture at the very bottom of the stack. This is Star Citizen. And then you've got my face cam. Hello. And then you've got the zoomed in mirror face cam that is basically hidden all the time. This is what it looks like. Hi. But you want to keep it hidden. And you can either use, Stream Effects by mirroring the Facecam scene, or if you are more comfortable just using nesting, scene nesting, you can also do that. And if you already know how to do scene nesting, then you probably don't need help with help on how to get that set up. But using Stream FX, it's very simple. You just, add a new scene and choose Source Mirror. This is basically the same thing that Epos Vox has shared. Source mirror, and then you're going to want to use the, well, in my case, I'm going to have to use the existing source mirror, but you're going to want to create a new source mirror and then use the face cam as your source. So that's going to be a scene like that. And once you have, your source mirror set up, you're going to want to hide it. That's essentially what I did. I already have that set up as Facecam Zoom 2 times. So I'm going to remove the second source mirror that I added. All right, so once you have your Facecam mirrored and set up in terms of position and size and where you want it to show up when you speak loudly, and also make sure that it's hidden, of course, you're going to want to right-click the microphone that you have set up in your audio mixer and go to Filters. Then, as long as you have the Move Transition plugin installed properly, you're going to be able to add an Audio Move Filter. You can name it whatever you want. I've already added mine and named it Audio Move Facecam Zoom, which is this one down here. Going through each of these very quickly, meter type is the method of reading and interpreting the volume of your source. I don't really know how this affects the execution of the action that you want to do, but what worked for me seemed to be input peak sample or input peak true. Both of those kind of had the responsiveness that I liked, so that's what I use. Easing is what affects how quickly the action starts and stops. And action is what you want the trigger to do once it detects that your voice is above or below, I'll get to that later, a certain volume. We want it to do source, we want it to be source visibility so that it enables or disables the visibility of the source. And then scene and source, you're just telling it where to look for what you want to affect. So we want it to affect our Facecam Zoom, our mirrored source. And then the threshold action is basically what you want the filter to do with the action that you specified once it reaches a specified threshold. So since we want the filter to both turn on and turn off the visibility of our scene, we want the threshold action to enable over the certain threshold and disable it again under the threshold. And the threshold is just, what volume, relatively speaking, you want the filter to take effect in. I have mine set to 100 right now, just so that you don't keep seeing my face flicker in the background here. But once I start bringing that down, even with my normal speaking voice can be loud enough to trigger the threshold. So just for my own peace of mind and my own health, I'm not going to be screaming into this for the entire tutorial, but you kind of get the idea, right? You want to shift the threshold over to whatever point you think you're going to need for when you speak loudly into your microphone. So I would put that a little bit over my normal speaking voice for me. So maybe 20.5 would be pretty good. And then let's say something exciting happened in the game, like, oh my God, I'm actually playing against Linus Tech Tips or whatever. Hi, Riley. And so you can see that there. When I raised my voice a bit, it actually triggered the visibility. Now you have to be kind of wary of your speaking voice throughout the rest of your stream. If you're not careful, you might accidentally trigger, like you saw just happen earlier, the visibility, and that could be a little bit distracting for your stream audience. So you might want to give yourself a little bit extra, just push it a little bit more. Then we get to easing. This is kind of confusing, honestly. You would think that by sliding it over to 99.21, there would be a large buffer between starting and stopping the action, which is to trigger the visibility. It's not that much at 99. But if you go to 99.99, I'm going to reduce this again. And then I'm going to shut up and show you how long it takes to ease off. I'm whispering into the thing and it's still showing. It's still triggering. It's kind of crazy. Damn. So that is, yeah. The moment I bring it down off of 99.99, you can see there it kind of eased off and made it so that it will more easily hide the source again. But if we turn it the other way, the opposite is going to happen. Basically, any little fluctuation in your voice is going to cause the action to trigger, and then it immediately starts and immediately stops again. So you pretty much have to be talking constantly like this and make sure that you don't even get any breaths in between your. It's really hard to manage. So you might want to do something in between. But I found that anywhere between 0 and 90 is basically the same thing. So here we have the easing already set up to 93 and it's still flickering. We have to reduce the threshold to compensate, right? So if we reduce the threshold a little bit, then we get better easing, and I can take some breaths between speaking and it would still, actually it doesn't even do that. So we have to go back up to like 99-ish. And at least there, I can stop talking for a little bit and it would still be zoomed in. So yeah, maybe keep the easing at 99.4, 99.5, and then use that as a base to determine your threshold for screaming and triggering the visibility. So you're not going to want to copy exactly, the settings that I have here for easing and threshold. In fact, you're probably going to be tinkering this for a long time. I've spent over 30 minutes just trying to find something that I like. And after something as simple as, opening another door somewhere else in my apartment, it affected the sensitivity so much. So this is highly dependent on your own equipment, your own streaming space, your own voice even. So you're probably going to want to take a lot of time to really fine tune and make it so that you know exactly at what volume you're speaking, can you expect the trigger to happen. So yeah, there you have it. Once you have the settings dialed in to something that works for both you and your stream, you can really start playing around with the rest of not just the audio move features, but the rest of the features in the Move Transition plugin as well. I'm going to go ahead and turn off that zoom for now because I'm just speaking in my normal speaking voice and I don't want to mess around with my settings too much. Like Move Transition, like I said before, it basically lets you customize how all of your individual sources in your scenes can come into and out of view. So when I click on the chat scene, for example, what you're going to see is my face cam is going to increase in size or scale up and be moved to the side, while another layer, a silhouette layer behind me, fades into view and also moves into place. And another layer, just a color layer, with an opacity set to like 75%, fades into view to cover, or rather just overlay on top of the entire game scene. So I'm going to click on chat. Boom. And all of that happened just like that without needing, a special transition or a stinger file or anything like that. You just use what you already have and just I'm making it sound super simple. It will be simple once you get used to it, but learning it is very daunting. So I would suggest seeing the tutorials by Scott Fisher. He actually has a lot of really good, very easy to follow instructions on how to familiarize yourself and really get creative with the Move Transition plugin. I highly recommend it. If you enjoyed this, I'm not going to tell you to subscribe, or I don't really make that much content, but if you liked it, I would appreciate a like and maybe a follow. That's up to you. See you guys.
End of tutorial.